So we want to talk about kind of just like a super basic, I've done a first post, people are reaching out, where do I put them? What do I say? Where do I go? Like that, right? So it doesn't feel super squirrely and overwhelming. And to let the person who introduced you to Plexus do more of the heavy lifting. Sometimes I feel like when we start, we feel like we have to be the expert, or we have to have like a plan, or we have to be able to know all the answers. And for somebody like me who had a background in photographer and had no nursing background, I would be like, this person's got lots of symptoms. Like, what do I even say? What do I do? Or early, I would just hook everyone into Brooke, and I would just listen on these phone calls, and she would just like flowed, right? Like water. It just sounded so lovely. And I'd be like, okay, whatever she says, that's great. And then she realized after a certain point that that's really not duplicatable. And so we've tried to work with these systems of like, what are basic things to send people to let third-party validation do the work for you, so you don't have to sit and try to fumble and be the expert and describe like a whole dump truck of stuff to these people. And eventually you can get to those conversations, and that might help. But we want to make sure that you guys have systems in place to plug people in to do that teaching for you, to do the education for you. So give me an example, Sarah. You did a post and someone responded.
Yeah, just like, like I have a lot of people posting is awesome. So yeah, like, and people are getting responses. Okay. And then
I'm
it's like,
curious. And then you're like, okay,
yeah,
what do I do
they're
next?
interested. They're not quite ready to buy yet, but they're interested. They want to learn some more. So what do
Yeah.
we do right away? Like, what's the system? What can we do?
So when people are interested, it's typically mentally, I'm interested in learning more. I'm not interested in purchasing today in the next 10 minutes. It's, I'm interested in learning more. I'm curious about what you're doing. So something that I do, and this can be in your own words, is I'll just say, I'll DM you versus trying to explain everything Plexus does like in a paragraph. Like on your Facebook like post, right? I'll just say, I'd love to share more with you, blank, like the end. And then I go privately and I'll say something simple like, hey, so I'm excited that you're curious about learning more or whatever. I'd love to share more with you. Do you have time today to watch like a short or right now, to watch a short 3-minute video on how this works? And then they'll say, I don't have time right now, but I have time tonight. Great. So let me send it over right now, and I'll follow up with you tonight. Like that simple. And I usually send the microbiome video, something 3 minutes, super short and sweet. If they're like, I do have time right now, awesome. Here it is. I'll check back in with you in like 15 minutes. So super simple like that. I don't say Plexus is a series of plant-based holistic products. Like I just don't. I let the third-party validation do it. And then I'll respond back and I'll say, hey, so did you get a chance to watch that video? Like it's just this very subtle back and forth conversation. It's proven that when people are like, yes, I want it. Yes, I want it. They'll never say, my friend really pushed that stuff on me and I wasn't even ready for it, right? So you say, did you have a chance to watch that today? I did. Awesome. Was there anything in there that like stood out to you or that you could relate to? And you're just asking as a friend, like, did anything stand out to you in that? And they'll say, yeah, actually, I thought of this, this, and this. Yeah, I felt a lot of the same way. So really often in Plexus, we'll use things like the feel, felt, found method. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. When people struggle with something or they're objecting with something, or I would love to try it, but I can't afford it. The best way is to like connect with them on a human level, which is to say, I totally understand how you feel. I felt a lot of the same way, but what I found was blank. And so that we'll use in conversation a lot. If you get stuck, so then at that point, you're going to think about like, what is the next step for them? And so the options then are either to say, I'm having a Zoom tomorrow. You could just say tomorrow. And then you talk to your sponsor and be like, we need a Zoom tomorrow. What time works? And then we'll set the time. I'm having a Zoom tomorrow and we're going to teach people about gut health and immunity. I would love for you to like hop on and just learn a little bit more and see if it's a good fit for you. And if I can like type this stuff up, if that would help. But I think it's not like, there's some of your friends that you can be like, this is going to be so good for you. You need this. You have those friends. But a lot of your acquaintance friends, You can even say, I know this is going to help. I'd love for you to learn more and see if it's a good fit for you. Because maybe it's not. Maybe there's somebody who just wants to try it out for 30 days and then not really commit. Then it's probably not a good fit for them. Or if they just want to like try ProBio 5 and hope that everything goes away, it's probably not a good fit for them if they need other things, you know? So that's kind of where I go with that. And then I'll plan a Zoom, or if they're like, yeah, I'm too busy or I can't make the Zoom, you could say, that's okay. I want to meet you where you're at. So what do you think is your best way of learning? Here are some options. I'm going to have a Facebook like learning group on Thursday at 7, and there'll be testimonials and posts in there and you can learn more. Or we have a rotating 3-day info group. Would that be something that would help you? And then you can find out where they're at. Would a phone call be better? Like, could I call you on the phone later today and we could just chat about it? And in chatting about it, don't feel like I have to have all the answers. I actually think the biggest way that this is duplicatable is for you to say, I actually don't have the answers. So if they're like, okay, you say, hey, talk to me. My friend, talk to me. What are you struggling with? And you just sit and write down a couple notes. And I'll write down like, I have all these Post-its. I'll be like, allergies, asthma, she's tired, his skin breaks out, her husband could use an energy drink. And I'll just like write this stuff down on a Post-it. And then instead of being like, okay, here's my recommendation, because you might not have that or know what that is, I'll say, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of those. I'm going to connect with a friend that introduced me, or I'm going to do a little digging and I'm going to find out what a great fit for you would be. Or gosh, I haven't heard of that symptom or that diagnosis. I'm going to do a little bit of digging for you and I'm going to find out that answer. I'm still learning. I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to find it for you. And they're like, okay. Like they don't need it today, right now, this second. What they're looking for is like a path to hope for something. But I'm really hopeful for you. And I'm so excited for what you're going to learn. And what I've learned has already been incredible. Or what I've noticed in the short time I've been taking it is pretty awesome. I just feel good. You know, so sharing them just like very simple things like that. So you want to find out where they're at and then help get them the information based on what is the best fit for them. And you can give them a couple options. And whatever isn't created, we will create. So ideally, we want to do a Zoom with a minimum of 2 to 3 people, but it can be like, do you have other people that have come to mind? We have like formats for all of our Zoom calls. So it's literally like what you can say and things to mention, so that that's how we host it. Like I don't make all of this stuff up. For the Facebook group, if you want to do, like Leslie and I said, you could do like a Facebook event that's like Thursday, but it's a post and then it's available for the next 24 hours. That can be so simple as being like, okay, Leslie, you have 3 friends and one's pregnant, one has an autoimmune, and one has this. And we're going to search for those testimonials and we're going to plant them right in. They're going to be like, wow, this helps with my autoimmune. That's amazing. You know, and it's literally geared towards those people and their health symptoms. Plus Leslie's going to open it, or I can open it and be like, hi guys, I'm so excited for you to be here and learn more. And you're going to do like a 2-minute live. Like I'm going to tag you on posts that will help you. If you have any questions, let's like interact a bunch and just have like an open format for discussion. And then I can close it at the end of the hour. And it's so simple and it's geared towards your small group of friends. So those are really available. Same with the Zoom calls. Like if you find out what they're struggling with beforehand, okay, give me a short list of things you struggle with. And like I always say, think really broad about your health. Like since you were a teenager till now, digestive, hormone, energy, sleep. Like don't just be like, it's the weight or it's the autoimmune, because that's always like way later in the game from all these other things in their life. And I want to make sure I get you information like geared towards those things specifically. Awesome. Great. Got those. Okay. Then Leslie's going to be like, okay, can we do a Zoom tonight? And I have 2 to 3 people and this is what they struggle with. And I'll say, great. And we will literally address those issues during the call, which makes it like a tailored private call for them and not just a super open generic call. But we do have places that are generic if they can't make it. The 3-day info group. You say, we have a 3-day info group. Does that sound like a good fit or a place where you can learn more? They talk about the ingredients, the products, there's testimonials. And so then you say, this is a screenshot, and you go find the group. This is what it looks like. Let me know when you've accepted my invitation. Once they say yes, right? I never say like, I'm going to add you to this group. That never goes well with people. It doesn't go well with me because I've been added to groups. Do you want to be added to a group? Sure. It's just like a simple, like, I approve. Like,
Where is the 3-day info group? I couldn't find it.
I'll make sure you're added. I'll do that right now. It's so we keep it like a constant rotating group, and we delete it all out and then we replenish it. I'll make sure you're in here. Leslie Garber. Okay, I just invited you. And I'm going to send you a screenshot so you know what it looks like. And this is exactly how we do it.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out where it was.
Okay.
Is it through Ohana?
No, it's a separate Facebook one. So I just sent it to you on your text, Ohana 3-day health, beauty, and happiness challenge. And so then you're going to want to interact with those people. You're going to want to specifically tag them in posts that you think they'll relate to. And then you're going to follow up. Hey, did you get a chance to look at what I tagged you in? No, life is so busy right now. I'm so sorry. I'll get to that. Instead of being like, I totally understand. Just let me know later. Like, that's such a passive way. You could switch that and say, awesome, I know this is important. When do you think you'll have time to check that out? Oh,
who manages that?
Brooke.
Okay.
And then we all contribute. Like, we'll rotate out our testimonials to have lives. She'll just pull new people in, and then everything else is like slightly tweaked. She tweaks it depending on like what's available that month or any bonuses. But literally all the information's in there all the way until post 12, which is like, here's how you can share. Here's how you can make $500. Here's if you're ready to order and you just want to be a customer, like this is your path. If you're curious about how you could earn $600, like you're not even telling them all this stuff. It's all there. And then every Thursday we have a call that's like tying it all up together. That shares like we share how the products and the business have blessed our life. It always goes hand in hand. It's a disservice to people to tell people only about health and then have them say, I love this, I can't afford it. Like, that's never something we want, because all of those go hand in hand. You can't have good like mental and physical health if you're like knee deep in debt. So all of those kind of link together. And then you're going to follow up with them. Brooke has said you can even like put them in, like, so it goes typically like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No, you typically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Thursday night's the call. So let's say you talk to somebody on Thursday or Friday or Saturday. You can say, we have this group. Let me add you in. And then the next day say, hey, I just wanted to follow up. Did you get a chance to look at that? And then you're going to move them to like a 3-day thing. So the way that I always bumped, it doesn't work if you're like, I would love for my friend Julia to sell you these products and do all this stuff. Like, they're going to be like, no, I don't want to talk to somebody named Julia. Who's Julia? But here's what works every time. My good friend Brooke has helped me so much with this, and I'm still learning. I'm going to put us in a 3-way group. I would love for you to hear her story. You're not selling them anything. Nothing. And so what happens is then you have a third party person they don't know, but they're like, wow. And then I will say, Brooke, this person specifically, can you talk about your mental health? Can you talk about nursing? Can you talk about, she's a bodybuilder, so talk about the health part, like your athletic part. And I'll have her like gear something. And even if nothing is related to Brooke's story, because it's a dude who has something that, you know, or something totally random, she'll still share her story, and she'll always share about health and business, how this has blessed my health, and how now we're able to, like, I love helping others, and I've built a huge team, and it's been just a big blessing for our family. And so then that person will say, so what do you struggle with? Like, what are you looking to improve? And that person's like, oh, it's just like this new health coach. I'm struggling with this. Like, I've had conversations with, I don't know, Sierra and other people where I've been on like a 3-way and been able, like, I can easily go to Lindsay because I don't know her personally and be like, what are you looking to improve financially? That might terrify me if she's like my best friend growing up. Right? But when you have that distance and that third party validation of somebody being like, I know this is possible. I'm going to ask you this question. Like, how could this amount of money bless your family? What would your life look like if your health was different? Like with me and Lindsay, like we had a breakthrough talking to her mom, right? and her mom has no idea who I am. And it's just listening to it in a safe place with maybe someone who can speak it a little bit differently, but still with love and kindness, that people start to open up. And then Lindsay's over here going like, oh my gosh, right? Like, mom's saying all this stuff. And this is like what I've been seeing in her for years, like, and we can help her. And so,
yeah. So if it was someone that she knew, she would not have done that. Like, she doesn't know Sierra that well, and she doesn't know you. And so she would not normally like open up like that.
it's really hard to be vulnerable about your weight, about chronic health issues, about things that you already know you're like guilty of, right? Like, or you feel guilty about, or you feel like you're like, it'd be really hard for me to talk to my sibling or my mom about how I like yell at my kids, right? That's why, or I'm too angry, or I have no patience. Like, it's a different zone than if I'm talking to a stranger who's still invested and can offer some suggestions. So that's why I like the third party validation. But I just want you guys to think, if I'm stuck with anything, I want you to think I can find the answer, or Julia or Sierra can help me. And here's the reality. If I don't know your answer, I'll go up. I go up the chain and I go left and right. And I'm like, does anyone know the answer? Leslie's got this problem. Or somebody just wrote today, what did she say? Does anyone, she has these two diseases, EGPA, formerly known as Churg-Strauss, and RA. Well, I know what RA is. I have no clue what the other things are. So I'm going to go hunting. And I'm also going to go to Google and WebMD and be like, what is this? Okay, it's an inflammatory disease. Well, all of that's the same, right? Rheumatoid arthritis, it's all linked to inflammation. So if you just focus on basing it off inflammation, but it's rare with no cure. She takes 15 pills a day. She's got stomach aches. She struggles with sleep, energy, digestion, weight. Like, I'm like, well, Plexus helps with all of those. So at a minimum, even if you're like chronically failing in your health, you can repair some and have a better quality of life. It doesn't mean you're going to get off all your medication. I always say it's not going to cure your disease. I can't promise that, but I can promise that things in your life will get better. And if you just let me help you and give this a try, you know, a lot of times it's just listening to people that they've never really had someone listen or have them think broader about all the things in their health. And when you push a little bit in love, you'll find more things. If they're like, oh, does that pink drink help with weight loss? It does. Let me chat with you more. What else in your health do you struggle with? And then you can find out more. So, okay, then we're going to talk about posting, right, Sierra? Like, so I did a post and like, now what do I do for a second and third and fourth? And like, what's the ratio of like personal post to Plexus post, and what is too much or not enough? Typically I never post pictures of just like products or Plexus graphics. I mean, if products, it's like with me in the product, or I'll put like some things in my hand. So it's not so like infomercially, like here's the vitamins I take every day. And here's what they do. Like, here's what my X Factor Plus does. Here's what my pink drink does. I'm so grateful I have these. I think sometimes we overthink our posts and then we don't do any. So we're going to have really quick Gwen share how she did the most least complicated post ever this week and what happened. Will you share? You're still muted. So hit your microphone.
Unmute.
There you go.
Yara said, Mom, just do it. I said, okay, this is really scary. Who would like help with IBS and anxiety? Or who do you know that needs help with IBS and anxiety? And I was just flooded with people. Yeah, that all needed someone, or they've had it before.
Yeah. Just the text on like a colored background.
A colored background. That was it. And then I sent them all, I connected with them through Messenger, and then I, talked to them a little bit. I sent them the video, and some of them have already used it. Some of them know about it and know it works, don't have money for it right now. Some of them didn't respond at all when I reached back out to them. And that's kind of where it went. So I need
for some of the people that have been like, oh, I tried that once before. Then I would go back and say,
Well, I had someone who actually had tried it and she said it really helped her. I said, how did this work for you? You know, and she said it really, really helped her, which was nice to hear. She's just not in a position right now to do anything with it. And she'll probably go back to the original person that, you know, enrolled her. I don't know. I mean, I can talk to her more. But
well, just know that that's not always the case. As I just had someone switch over to me who had tried the products before, but she had no support from that person. And a lot of people you hear in Plexus, like I keep meeting more and more people that have like, oh, I tried that. And so I'll say, well, tell me about your experience. Like, did you have a lot of coaching? Did you have support? And sometimes they're like, yeah, and that's great. That's awesome. But if they are quitting and they can't afford it and that person's not helping them through that, or they said, I just don't want to share, but I love the products, then there's that. But I would just dig in a little bit more because this girl was like, I just need help. And I see that you're posting all the time and I see that you're helping people and we have a similar story and I need help from someone who's like invested and ready to help. So you can kind of be like, just you doing that extra digging and friendship building and like finding out. So if she quit because of finances, you can say, did the person ever talk to you about like how to get your products paid for or something like that? And just say, it's important to me, like for my team, that people don't have to worry financially. And so if you'd ever want help with that, I don't know how close you are to the person. Like this is a girl's like really like close family friend. And so, and she still wasn't getting the support. And that's not the fault of anybody. It's just nobody will be more invested in helping people like you. And so if they're getting everything that they need, maybe there's something that was missing and maybe you could fill that gap, or maybe you could gear her back as a friend to restarting again, you know?
Yeah, I'll keep talking to her.
Does the previous sponsor know that they switched to you?
There's
like
no
if they're not keeping
record.
track of their stuff?
Yeah. So if they look in their back office or they're like ready to follow up with that person might just disappear. It'll just disappear off their list. But there's no like alert, Leslie dropped your team and switched to Gwen's team. No.
Okay.
Is there a time period?
Okay. We'll have to talk. We'll talk about that. Yeah.
So they had that person, it used to be a lot more complicated, but at this point, if the person hasn't ordered anything for 6 months or more, I can clear them and they can sign up under you. And then additionally, if they've tried with you and haven't ordered for 6 months, we can clear them and they can start again with a new welcome pack and start over. So if somebody like tried it for 3 months and then quit and you are still friendship building, you're like, have you found another answer? No, I didn't keep going. It was just getting too expensive. Okay, well, if you've ever like to try again or whatever, I'd love to help you. And they're like, okay, I'm ready. Instead of having them place a new order, we can clear them out and have them start over with a new welcome pack, save the money and that, all of that too.
Okay.
So what's just for like stepping stones, we're talking about like they did the post and then they invited them to, you know, maybe they don't want to get on a Zoom, so we sent them to the info group. And then how do we progress this to the sale? Like what's the next step? You know, what's some dialogue we can use for like, are you ready for a recommendation, or like saying something like that? Like,
great comment. So if you're tagging them in posts, have you watched it? Have you learned anything? What has stood out to you? Well, I like that this talks about this, or I didn't realize that this helped with this also. Awesome. So at this point, do you think, would you like a recommendation? I don't know. Realistically, that's you trying to do it all yourself. So I would say after you've tagged them in a couple posts, I would always just do the third party thing and say, while you're learning, I'd love for you, I'm still learning. And a lot of this is still new to me. I'd love for you to hear my friend Sierra's story, and we will do all that transitioning there. Like at this point, I don't need Brooke for everything. And so I can go straight to the sale. Sometimes I do, and I still use her a lot. Sometimes I'll plug Brooke in after I sell. Hey, as we're getting started, I want you to have more support. I would love for you to hear my friend Brooke's story. And that's going really well with a friend right now. And she shared a bunch of stuff. Other times I would say during the 3-day, just like after you tag them, add an additional level of support and say, I'm still learning. I'm going to do a 3-way in Messenger. And I just want you to hear her story. And sometimes then you can hear the story and the person doesn't respond at all. And then you go back to your private messaging. Hey, were you able to hear her story? What did you think? You don't have to do that like in the 3-way because that's kind of awkward. Like, hello, did you hear her story? Right. So you can go back to private messaging, kind of do like this back and forth. But then in that thing, I'll share my story. I'll ask her what they're struggling with. I'll say, are there any other, Brooke will say, like, do you have any other questions for me, or how can I help? Would you like a recommendation based on what I've shared? That person will usually say, sure. And then you'll offer a recommendation and then say something like, I'm so excited for you. Do you feel like you're ready to get started? And that person can help with the heavy lifting of like, well, how much does it cost and all of that stuff. And you can just kind of watch and learn. It's a lot to feel like you have to like know it all. But you'll learn that you'll do the same things on repeat over and over. And in the beginning, all you want to think of is, who can I connect to my upline? Who can I connect? All you want to be right now is the connector. You don't have to be the knowledgeable person, anything. All you think about is, who can I reach out to? Who can I send messages to? Who can I get on a Zoom? And then just sit back. And you'll share your story here and there. And you'll keep sharing your story on Facebook, and you'll keep grabbing posts. So like Lindsay has done really good with putting little polls on Instagram or on Facebook, or just like today, she just posted about, this is a new girl who's 18, just posted about autoimmune disorders. And just saying like, all of these things are included. And then it says like, and so you can follow each other and copy and paste posts. That's also a huge thing that you're able to do. You don't have to come up with your own content like ever, especially for the first 6 to 8 months. Like if you look at my stuff, sometimes it's mine, sometimes it's like tweaked from somebody else's. Like if you don't have time, don't spend all your time like coming up with this like lengthy research post. Like literally just go in to the team page or ask me for a couple of people to follow, copy their thing, copy their picture and repost it and be like, here, this is all about autoimmunes and how it helps. This is about nursing and how it helps. And then shout out your little wins in between. I love that this is so simple, and it's helping with my sugar cravings. Like the end, like you're just creating interest and intrigue, and people are just watching and being like, at a certain point, they're going to see, wow, that must help me. But at the same time, you do need to do reach outs, like personal reach outs to people, whether that's relationship building that flips to Plexus, or just inviting people to learn more and saying, you know, the things that we've shared with you, which is, I have no idea if you're even interested in this at all, or if you saw my post today, but this is what I've been learning about and doing. And maybe you know someone that this could help.
But how do you so when people say, okay, how do I get started? If they want to go to the Plexus website themselves to take a look. Yeah, so like several months ago, I had that, and I had said, well, let me give you, tell me what you're struggling with, and I'll provide you with information and, teach you what I've learned about it. And I think people tend to want to go to the source sometimes, and then like, I think they just sign up. I mean, obviously they don't know that ideally we'd like them to sign up under us. So how do you keep them from just signing up?
And like shopping and buying a product.
Yeah.
That's a good question too. So
has that happened to you or no?
No, but I'm trying to think of why. I know that there's people on my team where they've been like, I know that like one girl, she's like, I'm like, we have a call if you want to learn more? She's like, it's okay, I'll just do my own research. And I'm like, oh, great. So that happens. And so then you could say, I totally understand. You probably are the person that wants to like dig in and do a little bit of research on your own. We have this great informational page that breaks down the ingredients and how they help people. And it sounds like you're an information person. Would that help you? And just, I always say like the Plexus website
What's that information page? Is that the Ohana 3-day?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Instead of being like, it's a challenge or I just like Brooke, I like how she's been just saying, it's just an info group. It's like where you can learn more information at your own pace. And then I'll say the website is really geared towards purchasing, not like there's some product ingredients, but if there's anything you're curious about, I have information sheets, that I can provide you with. We have educational calls during the week. We have a 3-day info group. Like, what do you think would be the best fit for you if you want to just like do a little bit of digging? Because the reality is, or I'll say, if you're curious about how it could help, I always go to like WebMD or Google Scholar and type in gut health and blank, like whatever you're struggling with, because you don't want people to be like, is Plexus good? Because they're going to get all sorts of stuff on Google. Is it a scam? You're going to get that for every single company across the board. And I actually love that Brooke once shared with Thomas, where Thomas is like, more people complain about hospitals and every like organization than they do provide like, I had a great experience. So the people that are more voicing their opinions, and there's one blog that people are like, this has all this bad stuff. At the very end, she says, and here's my own product that's better. So really you're going to say, I know you trust me. And so here's what I have for you. And I think this will help. And if not, go to WebMD or something, not Google, where it's opinion based, and type in gut health and inflammation or migraines and inflammation. And that's what Plexus does. It does these 3 things. So see how those relate to your symptoms. And then I can show you how this would help. If people are really stubborn, they're like, it's fine, I'm just going to do it. Just say, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I have somebody who I know is just interested in finding a solid multivitamin. That's their only goal.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that they would be interested in spending the time. I mean, obviously I don't know until I ask again, but I don't know that
about anything else. So you could even put them in the info group and tag them on the X Factor post. And then while they're in there, they will unintentionally see the other things and be like, the triplex, I just wanted to tag you on this. I know you're not interested in it right now, but just if you're ever curious, this is what I also take and how it helps the body, right?
So how long is this process supposed to take? I feel like it's a long process and then we lose people.
It's
during the process.
And you're looking for people that are ready. There's a lot of people that have never heard of this, never seen it, and are like, what is this? I'm super skeptical. And then there's people like me who saw like 2 of Brooke's posts, and I said, I want you to tell me what you're doing and how it helps. And I signed up that day.
So that's what works for me is once I listened to your testimonial and I don't know if you knew I struggled with Candida or Sierra, I like planted that in your, so that you would talk about it in your Zoom or what, but that's what worked for me. So when someone tags me to a bunch of different Facebook posts on our group and all this stuff, I lose. That's not for me.
So that's why you want to say, what is the best way you're going to learn? Honestly, like if you ever sit in a group, like when we have like live gut health events, the thing that converts people the most is hearing other people speak about their health journey. Like absolutely hand down. They don't care what's in the product, so they feel hope. And
so
and they're like, whatever this is, it's helped me with this, it's helped me with this, it's helped me with that. And people connect that way. So there's a phrase like, if they like you, they'll buy from you. If they trust you, whatever, like that thing. And so what you're going to do is be like a rock solid friend and friendship person who's like, you can trust me. I would never talk about something that I didn't feel passionate about or that helped. But there's some people I've talked to on and off for 2 years. And I just keep looking because as I'm enrolling people or that have said, I've watched your stuff for 6 months, but I've enrolled people this whole last 3 years as level 1s because those are the people that are ready then. So you're planting these seeds, giving them information, following up. You don't want it to like drag on too long. Like that's what I'm saying with the 3-day group. You don't want to plug them in and be like, whoop, hope they'll learn by themselves. You'll say, hey, what have you been learning? We have a follow-up Zoom call. Like, would you want to hop on and figure out like, what is the best way of learning for them? Or, if we FaceTime real quick, and that I've done with Sierra, and I'll just say, you just be like, I just want you to hear my friend Julia's story. And I'll say, okay, any other questions? If not, I got to hop off and go. And you can be like, hey, what did you think? Because I'm not sitting there selling them on a product. I'm just sharing my experience. And with you, like, absolutely, that's the best way. But some people might be more scientific and might need more like the informational sciencey stuff. And so you have to be like, okay, like, where are you at? Do you feel like you need, like, a common phrase is like, what do you feel like is holding you back? Well, I don't have enough information. Well, I just can't afford it. And so then we can address those. But if you're in a three-way message group, when those things come up, then I can help and Sierra can help address those. And like Sierra, if she doesn't know, she'll just come to me. And so that's why.
So yesterday, like,
Go ahead.
I added two of my
Oh, you're cutting out.
message group, and then get phone issues, and then nothing happened. Like,
Sarah, can you hear her?
oh,
Yeah, Lindsay, you're freezing.
is it working? They said unstable internet connection.
Okay, now you're back. So say that again.
Okay, so yesterday I added two of my people into a three-way separately into a three-way group, and then Sierra was busy all day, and then she had phone issues, and then nothing happened, and now I haven't heard back from those people at all. Because I said, here, I'm gonna put you in this group with my my cousin Sierra. She has a great story, and then one of them even said hi in the group, and then nothing ever happened. So I tried to just keep them engaged.
Helping people understand time. Like, this is my friend. I know she hasn't gotten back to you yet. She's got 6 kids. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for her to like respond, let me get you some more information. Because like sometimes I'll do that with Brooke, and she's got a giant team. And so just kind of giving them a preface of like, that's okay, or gearing, like shifting things a little bit for them, saying, okay, while we're waiting for her, will you give me a list of things that you're struggling with? And just going back to the friendship building. Or, hey, I just saw this testimonial and I thought of you. Sometimes it can be done rapid fire, and other times it will take a couple days or something, or it'll take a couple back and forths. But I think just being patient with the process and helping them understand that that you're working with a bunch of people's schedules. And so saying, it sounds like, or she hasn't answered, I bet something's come up and she's really busy. She'll get to it when she can. In the meantime, let me give you this testimonial, or I just saw this thing and I thought of you. I just read this. I looked up on my own, you know, like what you're struggling with and candida, or this and inflammation. So here's something to like read over. Also, you can go to the coaching thread if you have a specific question, and then I added you to Brooke's other coaching thread. Sometimes I'll message in there and nobody will respond, and I'm with all the leaders. Like, I'm like, hey, I have this person. Has anyone heard of it? And it's like cricket. So I'm like, okay, so where do you go for information? So the first place I'll go look for information is in Ohana Plexus. I'll type in a symptom, I'll type in a product, and I'll try to get the information myself. This is before I talk to Brooke. Then if I can't find it, then I'll go to just Facebook in general, and I'll say, okay, like GERD, and you're not just going to like find it that way. You're going to say GERD inflammation, GERD ProBio 5, GERD BioCleanse. Typically Plexus isn't going to be your kicker there. And I'll see if any testimonials come up there, and then I'll copy and paste that to them. Or I'll even do my own research on Google, you know, Google Scholar or something, and I'll say, hey, I just saw this really interesting article. Like with you, remember how I just sat on my phone and looked up like, why is broccoli and cauliflower gassy? Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just like providing whatever I can find and just helping that person trying to figure it out on their own, to just be like, oh, that's interesting. You're just feeding me this information. And it just becomes part of like the coaching process without having to study all of the stuff because it's available.
Okay.
So when it comes to,
So
you guys have any other questions
you-
for us or reach outs, and we'll give you examples of like, okay, what do I say? Or how do I invite somebody to a thing? Like, we have all of that ready for you. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So if someone doesn't respond, then they're just not ready, right? Like,
If somebody doesn't respond to a 3-way message, I always go back privately, not in the 3-way. And I'll say, hey, I know we were starting this conversation, and I want to get you more information in the best way that's for you. like, how can I do that? You know, like figure out, maybe make someone comfortable. Maybe they just ran out of time. If I'm in a private conversation with somebody and I've sent them a video and they're not watching it, and I followed up like once, have you had a chance? Hey, just wanted to check back in with you. And they still say nothing. Then I always go back to a simple message of like, hey, I was just thinking about you today. Is everything okay? No one's like ignoring you on purpose. It's like they're busy, right? So like we joke about Apple will send like 15 ads before the sale, like 2 days left, 1 day left, 27 hours left, 3 hours left. And you're not annoyed. You're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Gap's having their sale. And now there's like 3 hours left. I'm going to go on and order. Right. And so typically every time I'm like, are you okay? They'll always be like, oh my gosh, yes, I haven't gotten to that video. Like, I don't even bring up the video, but I'm going to do it right now. Or yes, sorry, something happened. And then you can like help them as a friend. I'm so sorry. Like your kid barfed everywhere. Like, and you know that it's not you. Or I have people that are like literally ready to buy, and Brooks had a conversation with them. So have I. They're super excited. And then I go back and I'm like, hey, let me get you more information. Or, hey, there's a sale. Nothing. Then I literally just go back to friendship building. They haven't forgotten. Just something is holding them back. And so you can either ask directly, is something holding you back? I know you had said how excited you were and how you wanted to feel better. What's holding you back? And just be really direct, because it's done out of love. I love you and I want you to be successful and I don't want you to feel this stuff anymore. Like, what's holding you back? And they'll say, it's just finances, or my husband says no, or I feel like I don't have the mental space to start a program. And then you can answer those. Like,
Okay.
hey, what if I could show you how simple this is? What if I could show you how doable this is? What if you don't need to start a diet when you do this? You know, like a lot of people will say like, I'm starting on Monday. I'm like, what's happening on Monday? Like, what does Monday have to do with it's just, you know? And so, and people just have these mental blocks because a lot of people think this is like a diet system, right? And so like Monday, I'm just going to get through the weekend and eat all the chips. And Monday, I'm going to be ready. And I'm like, you don't need to be ready to poop, and you don't need to be ready to take a multivitamin. Like you just, and so I'll go back and I'll be like, how about we just start tonight? Like, let's just make this easy. Like, you're probably making it more complicated, or I haven't read through all the paperwork in the welcome pack. And I'm like, don't do that later. Like, I don't even know if I have ever read through all the paperwork in the welcome pack ever. I just started doing whatever she told me to do. And so say like, that's my job. My job is to make this simple for you. My job is to make this easy for you. And then if you're like, so how do I make it easy and what do I do? Then you come to us, right? And we're already in that three-way message. And so when you say things like, okay, you're going to take this, then I'm going to come in and say, I totally agree. I think that's a great way to start. Or I would back off a BioCleanse, right, Julia? Then and then if I don't answer, I'll be like, hey, can you answer this tonight or when you have time? This person's stuck. Like, I can't help them. Or they started this conversation with you, and now where do I chime in? If they're like, sometimes I'll get that where they're like having this back and forth with Brooke, and I'm like, where do I come back in? Or they ask Brooke, well, did you specifically do this for your children? And I can't answer that. But I don't want, if Brooke's super busy, which she is, I can't be like, so I'll go back in and say, hey, while we're waiting for her, is there any other questions that you have? Or we have this learning group. Do you want me to plug you into that while we're learning together? So I just want you to like mentally think, how can I just find people and then watch and observe? How can I find the people, bring them to my upline, and then watch and observe? And the very simple things you can do are send them a video and figure out the best way that's going to be a learning tool for them, where that will do the convincing. And then if you get stuck, go to the coaching thread or go message me and be like, I'm stuck.
Right.
Or send me a screenshot like of your conversation. Like, this is how she responded. What do I say next? And then you'll see sometimes that you'll end up repeating the same things over and over. So when you have a really good line, like the one I sent Lindsay, like, what is plexus? I think I sent it to you. Then you save that to your notes. And then, or like you save, is there caffeine in the Slim? You save that to your notes. And so then I created everything in a folder called plexus, which then became like 100 things. Cause I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. And now I separated it into like examples of cold messages, how to enroll somebody, all of our information sheets, so I can send people PDFs. And if there's anything that I have, I can send it to you. plexus problems or sensitivities, initial health symptoms. And in like that one, I'll have diabetes, SIBO, diverticulitis. Like, what do you recommend for those people? But in the beginning, you don't need to do any of that. Like in the beginning, you're just going to plug them in, get them in a three-way message, and then we'll help you know what to do when you sign them up. And that's basically just a method of follow-up. But right now, you're just going to think, how can I consistently create a couple events a week that I can plug people into, whether that's my event that you plug people into. Like right now, Sierra was like, can we do this thing? And I reached out to Leslie and I reached out to Lindsay and I was like, will you guys hop on? Like, I bet this would benefit you. So if Gwen has one person, she's going to say, hey, does anyone have a Zoom coming up in the next 48 hours that I can plug my person into? Or she has 3 and she's like, okay, I want to do one with just my little group and cater it towards them. We're making the most efficient use of our time, and you're not hopping on like 50 Zooms a week, so that we can have a Zoom whenever needed. And then when you tell people, always just say to, like, if it's in the morning, say, I'm going to have a Zoom tonight. You guys, we can find a time. We can find a time for a 30-minute Zoom, and someone can host it, or I can hop on, or say tomorrow night, and we'll invent it. Like, you don't have to be like, let me see if I can create a Zoom. Just say tomorrow or tonight. We're going to do a quick like gut health and immunity thing, and I'd love for you to learn more. And that Sierra started just by sending that message to a lot of people. So if you think I sent this to 10 people and one person said maybe, then you're probably going to need 20 people for 2 maybes and 30 people for 3 maybes. And then maybe 1 to 2 of them will sign up. It's just numbers. And you just have to think, so a lot of people aren't ready, but who is reading my posts and who can I reach out to that has been praying for an answer to this?
Yeah.
Like me.
Do you have, ideally, does it matter how many people are on the Zoom?
I would prefer like at least 2 to make most efficient use of our time. If it's one person, that could be, we could just do like a quick FaceTime call, something like that.
Or is there a max? Does it matter how many?
No max.
Okay. I was just going to say, because if anybody here wants to try and coordinate with us because we were going to try and do a Zoom tomorrow, right?
And so then in our thread, we'll say there's a Zoom tomorrow night, Leslie and I are doing. If you have anybody, plug them in. And then that'll work for anybody, because that means we'll have Zooms going all week that you can just be like, that's why I'm saying you can always say tomorrow and then be like, okay, I just told somebody tomorrow. When's the tomorrow one? And
this is just informational, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're just like the one I went to a few weeks ago where it's just you're going over each product.
So I'll share my story, Sierra, or if it's you, your Zoom, you share what you've noticed so far. You introduce everybody. Hey, everybody, this is my friend Julia. I know Gwen from this. Lindsay's my cousin. Sierra is my friend from church. And they gave me all their list. And so we're going to talk to you guys right now about gut health and immunity. So this is what I've experienced so far. And I'm going to talk to you about this and about the pink drink. And then Julia is going to share her story and a couple of our other products. And then we're going to be available to answer any questions that you have.
Julia, I think that would be really helpful to kind of have a list of, people are going to have a Zoom, pop it into your message so we all know, because I know in the past it was like, oh, you have to have 3 people or you can't do a Zoom. That's how I was approaching it. But maybe you'll have one person that wants to do it, and I'm thinking, well, I have to get 3 more people. How do I do that?
Well, the 3 people was initially that 1 month, because Brooke was like, if people can get 3 people, then you get $50 from her. That's why she did it, to make it worth financially, and because everybody's concentrating their time. So if we could max it out, but like you're saying, if we work together as a community, as a team, then you can have 1 person and just the next day throw 1 more person and throw 1 more person. You don't have to tell that person in 3 days when I gather 3 people, right? Because that's probably, so then we can have them regularly throughout the week. And if we have 3 to 4 per week, or if we commit to having 3 to 4 Zooms every week, plus the Thursday night one with Ohana that you can plug people into. Hey, there's a Zoom with our team. Hop on with your jammies and just listen in. They have one every Thursday. And then we're actually working in Ohana, because Brooke's doing Momentum Movement, to create one, I think, every day right now till the end of the month. So there will be one in our Ohana team, from the pediatricians and the nurses and the doctors and me and everybody else. There'll be leaders and other people. And we're going to plan one every single day. And we'll put the schedule in Ohana Plexus of a Zoom that you can grab people into. But if you do happen to have a couple friends, I think it's more beneficial to have a really small, tight group. But if you have one person or two people, absolutely plug them into one. Say there's an event tonight, if you can make it, and we're going to have one every night this week. When's a good day for you to listen in? And I don't say watch. People feel like they have to sit down like you and I are doing right now and like divide out 30 minutes of time. So I'll just say, like even the microbiome video, I'll say, do you have time to listen to this 3-minute thing today? Like I throw in my earbuds and I'll say, and I listen while I'm doing dishes or folding laundry or I'm working in the yard. Like they don't have to physically watch this stuff. They can just listen. So it makes it more like doable. Like surely I can find 3 minutes, or I can listen to a 30-minute thing in the middle of other things that I'm doing.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So then that will help all of you guys, because there'll be Zooms for the rest of this month. And then going forward with our team, we can plan maybe like one Facebook event per week and a couple Zooms. And then those are always available for you to plug people in. If we add an extra, totally fine. If not, there's always something where you can give the answer tomorrow. Or on Sunday, on Tuesday, we're having a Zoom. Would that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Oh,
Is she going to talk?
no, go.
Okay. So also on going back to Facebook posts, to help each other boost our posts. I don't know if you guys know, you can share your post in Messenger and tell people go on and comment on my posts, because you need to have, I learned this from my other company that I'm doing, that you need to have like a certain amount of comments within a certain amount of time for people to be able to really see your post, to boost the post. So if you go on and you share your post Messenger and share it with Julia and Sierra and me, and I'll start sharing it with Gwen, and then we know to go on and comment on your post that you did a post for Plexus or whatever. And if you just do like different engagement posts, every engagement post or a lifestyle post or something every day, it helps to boost your regular posts. You do posts.
Yep. So you want to post daily. It doesn't have to be, I would say try to do Plexus at least every other day. But in between, you can just do like engagement stuff, like what's the funniest thing you've bought during COVID, or the most random food item you've bought, because then people come out of the woodworks. And when you start doing, if you go back and they say, I bought celery and I never buy celery, or I bought 17 bags of potato chips, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. What are your favorite flavors? And you ask them a question, not like, haha, or love it. And they respond back, they will start seeing your posts more. So typically we'll have our team comment if it's a new person sharing for the first time. But what you can do, if you feel like you need more engagement, you can also tag some of us in your post, and then we'll get the tag and we'll go comment, versus like taking the coaching thread and doing like 7 of our posts every day. But early on, just tag me and Sierra, and then like you're with that person, and then we can go in and post and engage and stuff like that, and it'll shoot up. And that will help.
Also, it would be also nice to see, when Brooke or you guys people talk on Momentum Movement about certain posts that have been successful. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate that I've been trying to look up some of the names, but you can't see their posts. And it would be, I feel like it would be really helpful to see people's posts that they're talking about, that they're saying are really successful.
So I don't know how you get around that. Give you guys a list of some people in our team that post great, and you don't have to add them as a friend because you don't know them yet. And the reality is, if you add a lot of these people, you want to add in like real Plexus friends once you get to know them, because you don't want your whole feed to be Plexus people and not any of your other people that you're trying to help. But having some of them is helpful because you can see their posts and grab ideas. So I can give you a list of people to follow on Facebook, which means their stuff will pop up in your feed, and you can grab and copy and paste their stuff. And I'll give you a list of people on our team that I feel like consistently post and share good content. That would help. Because I don't want you to have to think too much about it. Like if a couple times a week, you're like, this is what I do. This is what I take. I love doing this, or I just found another accountability partner. She's going to do it with me. You don't even have to say who. Like those little fun things in between, but regularly posting about autoimmunes or about different diagnoses or someone's health story. I don't want you to like do all this deep searching. And you can also see someone's and then hit save for later. And so I have a health folder. And so I just save it for later, save it for later, save it for later. And then when it's time to post, I go into my laters and I'm like, that one looks good. Copy, paste, go. So my brain's not like having to come up with who said something. So yeah, you guys a little list of some people on our team that are leaders on our team, and you can follow their posts and kind of watch their style. Like I think Nicole Brinkerhoff has a great way of posting like super random funny, which gets a lot of engagement, and then a health, which touches on like feelings and connection and like the pain point. And then she'll go back to something funny. And obviously like that's her personality. But, and then Cher does a lot of like spiritual, inspirational with health stuff, because that's kind of her thing. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to like know what your thing is, just start putting stuff out there. And it can be simple. Like, I love that I had the energy, or like I'm recommitting to myself to go walking every day. Who wants to do it with me? Like it doesn't even have to be about plexus. It can just do about like bettering your life, or I'm reading this new book. Does anyone want to read with me? Or I love this new self-development book I just started reading. Like, what's your favorite book? What are you guys reading right now? You know, that's to me like the fun part of social media, is because then you get comments and you're like, oh my gosh, that person, like I haven't talked to them in like 15 years. Mm-hmm. They just commented on that they bought broccoli during COVID or something, you know? So that's the fun part. And then they're just watching you. So, and then always like reaching out to 3 people a day. So make a new list of 20 every week, reach out to like 3 people a day. And reaching out could be in the form of friendship building. Like you don't want to be like, I haven't talked to Lindsay in 15 years. I'm not going to reach out to her and say, hey, I don't know if you saw my post, but I'm doing this gut health stuff. I'm going to say, hi, it's been so long. How are you? Right? And then if along the course, she's like, it's been great. I have 3 kids, but I'm exhausted. I'll be like, noted. Okay. Or it'll be like, I'm great. I'm doing fine. Awesome. Tell me about yourself. Like, what have you been doing? People are always, especially if they glance at your feed and see that you sell something, they'll be like, she's going to sell me something. Just wait. It doesn't matter in that sense if that person needs what you have. It does matter if they don't want what you have or don't need what you have and you approach it. But you'll never know if you don't ask. And I think the always way to say it is, I don't know if you know anybody that this could help, or anybody that comes to mind, but this is what I do. And they can say, I'm actually good, but my uncle or my cousin or my friend might need this. And that's totally fine, because you're just looking for people who need what you found. So then it kind of pulls the pressure off. Like, I'm not saying you need what I have, and you might not need anything that I have, but really everybody needs this, right? The reality is everybody needs good health. Everybody needs to be financially not in debt and to be able to pursue things they love and they've dreamed about, or to take care of other people or set up savings or retirements to help them in life. Everybody needs a really good community. And if you've sat on a beach in Hawaii, everybody needs that, personally. Like, these retreats are like no joke. And there was a girl that started recently that switched from doTERRA too. And she's like, I just want to do the trips. Like, I don't ever get to take girls trips. They're so expensive when my friends go to Cabo and I'm looking at thousands of dollars. How do I go on a girl trip? Like, how do I go somewhere fun with my friends in a place that you're like inspired? It's not gossipy and like drinking and like on bars, you know what I mean? Like a place where you're like, I'm going and I'm being spoiled and I'm being inspired and I'm uplifted, and I go home and that was awesome. And that for me, I'm like, dude, can everyone that I know get to these trips? So their plan right now is, unless something gets shut down, we're planning on having a gold retreat in August. We're still deciding location and everything like that, but it'll come out early June. Like, this is what you need to do to get to gold, and a plan of attack, and how many enrollments you need and how we can help you. And you can earn that trip. Earning that trip means we'll also help you financially get your plane ticket, but you get yourself there. And then the costs for food and like lodging, all of that's covered, and all the training's all covered for free. And then the Hawaii trip is February, so that'll be interesting. They did cancel convention this year, but instead of earning a lot of the like tactile prizes, they just transferred it for money. So they're still going to do convention. They're still going to do it live on TV. But I mean, this is like the first time they've ever had to do that. Leaders Retreat is in the fall. You have to earn your way into that. Once you get there, it's like a covered hotel. It's amazing. I don't know if that's going to happen because it's late October. So
Can I ask you though, when you guys talk about enrollments, I don't even remember because it was so long ago how I started. So when you talk about getting people started, like actually physically started, like I hear about starter packs and welcome packs, and I don't remember.
I'll help you through all of that. So essentially,
Okay.
when people start, they pay like a membership fee like Costco. So it's,
And is that like $9.99 now?
it's
Did I
$9.99
hear? Okay.
For just this month though, right?
just this
Yeah.
month. The corporate has issued a big stimulus, like $6 million. They're a debt-free company, and they've been like, we're going to put $6 million back in the hands of people to help them get healthy, to help them financially, and to help them reach their goals. So it's not a financial strain when everything else is a financial strain. So it's normally $39.95 annually. It's $9.95 right now. And then everybody starts with a discounted like starter pack. And so that's what our job is, to help them get them the right fit for what's a good starter pack. That doesn't mean they need to stay on those products forever, that exact grouping, but like the $199 packs give you a larger assortment, so they're going to feel better faster than just the basic. But we have basically two categories of $99 and $199. And right now, there's a code for 10% off, which would be $89 and $189. For our team specifically this month, Brooke is offering an additional 10% off for her levels 1, 2, and 3. So Leslie, you're a 1, Gwen, you're a 2, and Lindsay, you're a 3. So this would apply to anyone that you guys enroll. Anyone past that, I'll help. And we can just divide that up. She's offering an additional 10%. So that's $79 for a 99 pack and $159 for the 199. The 159 is phenomenal because you're getting a ton of product. You're either getting like all your beauty and your triplex, or you're getting like a ton for gut health. You're getting like gut health and weight loss and a lot of products for just $159. And so when it comes to like, but my total's coming out to this, I say, absolutely, I understand. We're going to Venmo you back the balance. So I will then Venmo them back the $9.95, and I'll Venmo them back the extra 10%.
And do you even mention this on the Zooms, or is that like too?
Nope. We can
Like,
say
are
that at
you-
the end of the Zoom. We can talk price and say, okay, right now you're like, okay, this sounds great. This can help me. How much does it cost? And so then I'll go over that really quick with them. And then how we have referral bonuses, the benefit to that this month is normally there's a referral bonus per person. You get like around $40 for a $199 pack. And right now you're also getting about $40 for a 99 pack in referral bonuses. In addition to that, this month, and we have graphics for this, when you find 3 people to do this with you, you get an additional $100 on top of your silver bonus. So that people that start with a $199 and enroll 3 $199s can earn like $500 by the end of this month, which is phenomenal income and can pay for well over 2 months of products. And 6 people is like over $800 or something. So anyways, but we usually will talk about like referral bonuses and finding accountability partners and stuff like that. Even if they don't want to do it for the business, I always just let people know there should be no reason why they can't pay for their product, because people need the products. And everyone can think of people that need like better energy, better skin, better gut health, less medication, all of that. So yeah, we kind of address all of that on the call too, and then answer any questions that people have. But that's a general thing. Does anyone else have any other questions? I know it's kind of a lot. So I recorded this so you can go back and listen to it if you're like, what did she say? But
Where
also
will it be?
come to me directly and say, you said something about this. What did you say? And I can type that out for you. Huh?
Where will this recording be?
I can put it in our coaching thread.
Okay.
My coaching thread.
Thank you.
Like there's a lot of things. If you type in like IPA challenge in Ohana, there's a lot of like great messaging ideas for reach outs. Ohana does have like how to get people to silver and how to get yourself to silver. But I don't want you guys to be so overwhelmed in like the learning portion that you skip the doing portion, because the doing portion is how you learn. And like failing and saying all the wrong things is how you learn. Like doing it the wrong way, or how someone's like, oh, I did this, I'm sorry. That's okay. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. You're going to fail. You're going to fail a million times. I failed so many times. And it's like failing forward, right? You learn as you go. Like, I remember being like, I totally messed this up, Brooke. I'm so sorry. I said the wrong thing. And she's like, it's okay. We'll figure it out. So it's okay because it makes you human, right? And you're going to fail and you're going to mess up and you're not going to do it perfectly, but that's okay, because the more you do it, the more you're going to know. The more it'll just come off the top of your head. But you won't get to that part if you're always just like, I don't know. So don't worry about that. Just focus on simple things. Like Brooke said, like do a post, send invitations out, message people, hop them on some type of learning, and repeat. And just do that same thing every day. And then it keeps it simple. Then it is something that you can literally do in like 30 minutes a day. You wake up in the morning, or you go before you go to bed, be like, I'm not going to go to bed before I ask 3 people today and reach out to 3 people off my list. And I'm not going to go to bed today until I've done a post. And I'm not going to go, because you just have to think of what your dreams are and what your goals are. And that's bigger than all the excuses, because the excuses are so easy. Like, I didn't have time. My husband did this. Like, life is coming and I just can't. But you, like, the best way to succeed is to suddenly, over time, that will take a priority, and you'll tell your people, I would love to help you, but at this time is my work time. And then I can help you after that. Or I'd love to do this with you. Like, I have left parties for calls. I have left a lot of stuff because my dreams are bigger than those temporary things. And so now my friends are like, it's totally fine if you have to like leave Bunko and go to a Zoom call. And then just when you're done, come out. Like, you can use my back bedroom. And so I'll leave the party, sit on like an accountability call for 30 minutes. I'll come back, I'll eat, and like, we'll continue. And it's totally fine, because nobody else is paying my bills. Nobody else wants Jan to not be working 6 days a week, and nobody else could fund my adoption. Like, that's all me. And so you just have to think, like, if I want to help people, if I want to do something with this, if I want to earn the trip, if I want money, and if I want to help like a team of people and be that person and that link for people, like, how can I make this a priority in my life and compartmentalize it so I'm super effective with my time? So I do that post and hop out, or I set a timer for 10 minutes and I go interact with people on Facebook. How are you doing? What's going on? What's going on? And not get so caught up that like 2 hours have gone by and you're like, actually didn't even work. I just messaged a bunch of people. So like, set a timer, 5-10 minutes, and I'm going to message people and interact with people. And then I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to do 3 asks. And since I already made my list on Sunday, I'm just going to take a deep breath and I'm going to go for it. And maybe they don't respond, or maybe they do, or like, when they do and good things happen, that dopamine will get you through like the 4 people that completely ignored you before. And when you get people that are like, I've been watching you, sounds like you're not dead yet, and you're still doing this stuff, could it help me? That's like your fuel. And so you have to do things in your life that give you that fuel. And self-development is that fuel. Like listening to somebody on a YouTube thing that's like Will Smith, who's like doing a big dream and believe like spiel, will get you like super pumped up. And then you do that and go straight into your work, you know? So have people in your corner, even if the only person's yourself. And I'm in your corner. So anything I can do to help you, just reach out privately or reach out in a group thread. If you ever get stuck, come reach out to us and we'll just learn together.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Mariah. Thank you.
Yes. I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to hop off.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
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 Yeah.